604 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, JP producing, coming to you live from the 180 Pros studio in downtown Baton Rouge. Starting you off at 44 degrees. Man, let's get right to it, y'all. We got a lot of ground to cover this morning. LSU is announcing a new president this morning. Is it who we all think it's going to be? I don't know. It's we'll dive in a little bit later on the show. Right now, though, we start you off with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Two more people tied to a street racing incident. Hazel Munoz and Tyler Jackson Scott have been arrested, officials announced yesterday. BRPD said multiple vehicles were street racing along Mammoth Avenue near Monterey Boulevard around 2 a.m. Sunday. Police said there were reports of gunfire in the area. Officers stopped a vehicle, was shot at. After pulling the car over, the officers found 2 stolen guns in the car and made the arrests.
Number 4.
At least 2 people were hurt in a shooting along Canonica Street on Monday evening. BRPD said that shooting happened shortly before 5:30 p.m. at Canonicus near Wyandotte. Police said 2 victims were taken to hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries.
Number 3.
Woman was shot inside of her mobile home by her roommate yesterday afternoon, according to law enforcement. Well, over at the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office. They said the shooting happened at the Greenwell Village Mobile Home Park shortly after 1 p.m. Victim was taken to a hospital in critical condition. Deputies said the woman's roommate was detained.
Number 2.
Judge Gail Horn Ray was recused. Was recused from presiding over the trial for Kason Carver, one of the 4 people arrested in the alleged rape of Madison Brooks that happened back in 2023. The recusal was filled by the state and granted by Judge Brad Myers. There's a ton to unpack from this story, and fortunately, we have a legal expert we call on every Wednesday, so we'll do that Legally Served tomorrow.
Number 1.
LSU Board of Supervisors will have their meeting this morning. Things will become official, and we will find who is the next president of the LSU system. That is, of course, after the show. So we will hopefully get the first bite at the apple from either the new president or someone for the Board of Supervisors to talk about it tomorrow. Before you dive in,
okay.
I gotta drop this one in there. Did you have Dick Cheney down on your list?
Dick Cheney for
your trending story?
No.
Okay. Dick Cheney, former vice president under George Herbert Walker Bush, has passed away, 84 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did that happen? Did it happen this morning?
Last night due to complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease, according to a statement from the family spokesperson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Condolences out to.
Yeah.
Man. It's terrible.
Yep.
In other news, Donald Trump has conceded it is pretty clear that he can't run for a 3rd term.
Something we all knew. Something he, has used to troll people, to agitate them.
That he has.
Yeah. Just simply reading Sun Tzu's Art of War, and you don't have to get up in arms about everything Donald Trump says.
That's right. He actually told reporters aboard the Air Force One en route to South Korea, I have my highest poll numbers that I've ever had. And, based on what I read, I guess I'm not allowed to run. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Just complete trolling.
Always.
Complete trolling at this point.
Always.
Well, the rumor mill has been swirling since last week. Apparently, Nick Saban was in town.
I keep hearing this everywhere. And we don't know why. Was he interviewing for the football coaching position? Was he interviewing for the AD position? I keep hearing, how about Nick Saban as AD and Lane Kiffin as head coach?
Yeah.
I'm here for all of it. We're going to be in for a roller coaster ride.
Well, according to, LSU's own Shaquille O'Neal, he heard through the grapevine that LSU has talked to Nick Saban. So maybe that's where it started with Shaq kind of.
Probably. I mean, Saban's old house is back up on the market. If he wants to just move right back in,
there we go.
It'll be very, very convenient right about now.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? Keeping with Baton Rouge, 2 Baton Rouge area restaurants and 3 in New Orleans have made the cut for the Michelin Southern Regional Guide. Elsie's Platon Pie and St. Francisville Inn are the Capital Region representatives.
I love that.
Really cool stuff.
Elsie's Platon Pie is so underrated.
Oh, man.
They're so good.
Amazing.
I mean, It's I don't know of anything they've done that I haven't liked.
Oh, for sure.
You
For
know,
sure. Jamie and I kind of make our way out here a lot because that she's the one who introduced me to that. But yeah, Elsie's is incredible.
yeah. We're at 610 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Let me give you the rundown, guest wise, at least for the show today. We'll talk with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics, coming up at 6:35. We check in and find out what's going on down in New Orleans every Tuesday morning. In the 7 o'clock hour, let's talk economic outlook for the capital region. Jake Polansky with the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership, formerly BRAC, is going to join us at 7:15 to talk about it. 7:35, let's talk about the school readiness tax credit. Shannon Abney from the Volunteers of America, Louisiana or South Central Louisiana chapter is going to join us there. In the 8 o'clock hour, Moon's coming to town today. We'll see if we can't get him to pop in for a segment at 8:15, and we will wrap up our guest list with Congressman Troy Carter. He's got a bill out there to help keep FEMA open during the shutdown. We talked about it a little bit last week. We'll dive into it a little bit further this week. Right now, though, as we come up on 7:11 at Talk 107.3 FM, we are due up for a break. Before we take that break, got to remind you about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is the website. FlyBTR.com. Who needs the Baton Rouge Metro Airport? Well, it's not just for your everyday business traveler. If you're making plans for your vacation, maybe if you're skipping town for the holidays, give FlyBTR.com a quick look. Direct flights to a lot of places that we would want to go over the holidays, like, I don't know, Disney World, Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. You ever been to the nation's capital in around Christmas time? Gorgeous. Of course, I've already got my plans for Washington Mardi Gras at the end of January. Book them right there at flybtr.com. And there are a number of really great options. Flybtr.com, flybtr.com. We have an airport, a wonderful airport right here in our own backyard. Let's support the local economy. Let's support a local business. Flybtr.com. Quick break. Come back. Frank Wilson, interim head coach at LSU, spoke with the media yesterday. We'll have that next. Oh. 6:15, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Sports time here on Talk 107.3 FM. And, well, believe it or not, LSU's going to play a football game this week. I think a lot of folks, myself included, are absolutely looking forward to that. After last week when, so much turmoil last week. The seas should start to calm down a little bit today. It was a new president will be named, and then, we heard from Verge Osbury on Friday talk about putting together that committee that will decide who is the next head football coach. We'll get to that in a second. Which JP, can you pull that one up from Friday, the one on the committee? In the meanwhile, though, before you start digging for that one, Frank Wilson, interim head coach, met with the media yesterday, said they are looking forward to this Alabama game.
I think we understand the challenges that are before us. I think our football team is eager to play in this game on Saturday against Alabama. We know what we're up against, and we'll have an opportunity to play our best football. That is the attitude in the building. I think it resonates from the coaches to the players, the support staff, where everyone's really excited about the opportunity to play again.
A lot of talk since Frank Wilson has taken the helm about getting alumni back involved, and the interim head coach spoke to that yesterday as well.
I thought they received it extremely well. It was an opportunity for our former players. What we'll do on Thursdays, we call it the huddle up. Former players will come back. They'll walk through these hallways and be able to say, hey, that's where dad position meeting room. And oh, look, that's your grandfather on the 1982 team there. Let's go out to the practice field. I practiced here. And we want our former players just to know that you matter. We want them to know that you're invested and you've earned the right to be a part of what we're doing and always will be a part of what we're doing. And so it was initially that. Naturally, emotionally, I felt a need to allow them to give them a stage to say a few words. They said a few words to our team and the limited capacity, but more than anything, it was the interaction.
This is not a new idea, bringing the alumni back around. I like the angle that Frank Wilson is taking with it, but Ed Ogeron did this, didn't he? I might be misremembering, okay? Ed Ogeron, when he got here, was a long time. It was pre-COVID, so it was 1,000 years ago. But I vividly remember Coach Ogeron inviting the alumni to walk Victory Hill. I can't, again, this is, like I said, 1,000 years ago, so I might be misremembering, but it was a big deal at the time when it was first brought up, and it's a great idea. In the fourth quarter of every game inside Tiger Stadium, they do that NFL LSU video showing you all the former Tigers who are on NFL rosters. And it's a lengthy video. And from a recruiting standpoint, from an overall prosperity of the program standpoint, it's a good reminder that, and I don't want to dumb it down this far, but we got dudes, and we will continue to do so. Especially following a week like last week where there's so much turmoil, it's an important reminder that LSU gonna be all right. We've had plenty of guys in the past, plenty of success in the past. We will have plenty of success in the future. So, inviting the alumni back. Love the idea by Frank Wilson, especially the way he's doing it. As the last time we saw it come around was with Ed Ogeron, with the guys walking down Victory Hill. As far as the game itself, Saturday at, I believe, 6:45 is kickoff time, which means the network pregame will begin at 4:45. You got to back it up 3 more hours to get the Eagle 98.1 game day. Would begin then at 1:45. Of course, once the game is over with, you've got network postgame for 90 minutes, followed by Charles Hannah, Griffon, Richard Dixon taking your calls on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. We've got the Fox Business Report coming your way in just a couple seconds. On the back end of that, I'll check traffic. And then I had Governor Jeff Landry on the show yesterday. We will listen to a little bit of that next, right here on Talk 107.3. All right, time to head back to the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center, see what we've got going on out there right now. And really, if you're coming in from Denham Springs, that's the only delay right now. I-12 westbound coming in from Denham Springs, it's going to slow down a good bit right around the Range Avenue on-ramp, but that's it. Picks back up again before you get to the Amite River and continues all the way through the 10-12 merge. Meanwhile, on 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish, we look good. 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish, we look good. I-110 looks pretty good as well. In fact, yeah, outside of the I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish, the only thing we've got going on right now, Surface Street wise, look out for their delays on Chippewa right around G and Gonzales, although I'm not showing whether or not that's connected to an accident or not. But it is on the board, and it's showing me a good stretch of red right there from on Chippewa Street, like I said, right in front of G and Gonzales, all the way up to Lupine Avenue. And then also on your board, you've got an accident in the roadway, Harding at Veterans, another accident that's been moved off the roadway, Florida at South Wooddale, and from almost an hour ago, an accident, Port Hudson Pride Road at Sonoma. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. We're at 725 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Don't forget, Coach Kim Mulkin, the LSU women's basketball team, open the 2025-2026 season when they host Houston Christian tonight. Coverage begins with pregame at 6:30, tip-off at 7. Your home for LSU women's basketball is right here on Talk 107.3 FM. We've got, oh, man, we're going to talk a little bit later on about the presidential search over at LSU, but I want to tee up the conversation right now because I had Governor Jeff Landry on the show yesterday. If you missed the conversation with Governor Jeff Landry yesterday, it's available on demand at talk1073.com, which, of course, all of our content on demand brought to you by the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. Whether you're talking about on-demand content, whether you're talking about the podcast, whether you're talking about the Facebook Live, YouTube live streams, Lake Urgent Care brings you all of that content. Lake Urgent Care, walk-in care for minor illnesses and injuries. I did have the governor on the show yesterday. We talked about a number of different items, including the power of women's sports. Maybe not from a dollars and cents perspective, but from a fathers of daughters perspective. Or in the governor's case, his mother was a girls basketball coach. Great conversation with the governor. We covered a lot of ground. I want to start off with, if you got Landry 1, then we'll go to the one from Verge from last Friday. Okay. Governor Jeff Landry, one of the questions that I asked him was, when you fire Scott Woodward, and to be fair, I asked that in the moment, and Scott Woodward wasn't fired. Scott Woodward resigned. But the way I framed the question was, when you fire Scott Woodward, do you leave the university in a precarious position when it comes to finding the donors that could buy out Brian Kelly's contract and or putting LSU in the best position to find the next coach? Are we, kind of painting ourselves in a corner by getting rid of the AD?
No, I don't. Let me tell you, we got a great board of supervisors. Mm-hmm. They put a great search committee together that's made up of LSU folks, alum, and by the way, which I think is important, those that have donated millions of dollars to the program as well. I think that's important. There has to be stakeholder environment. I'm hoping that the board of supervisors tomorrow gives LSU a president, right, that can write the university as a whole. And I think we'll be on the road to some great success. Look, I want to see LSU in the Louisiana Superdome in 2028 because that's when the college national championship is going to be played back in Louisiana. So we got a lot of work to do, and we got to get it done fast.
Over to that search committee, it's one of the things that Verge Osbury talked about when they met on Friday. There was a big press conference held. You had Verge Osbury as the interim AD, Scott Ballard, the head of the LSU Board of Supervisors, John Carmouche, also on the Board of Supervisors, were all at the microphone or at the podium. Well, they were sitting at the table. But talking about just the overall situation right now, where we're at and where we're headed with the head coach, you heard Governor Landry reference that committee that's been put together. Here's who makes up the committee.
I formed a committee. On that committee will be Scott Ballard, chairman of the board, John Carmouche, chairman of athletics, Ben Bordelon. As you know, Ben Bordelon is a former football player here. Bollinger Shipping, CEO. E.J. Kuiper. E.J. Kuiper, CEO of Lady of the Lake. He will be on the committee. And there'll be another, and myself, and there'll be another member of the committee that we are talking to right now at this time. Those are the people that are going to be responsible for helping us find the next great football coach at LSU.
Yeah, we heard a lot of rumors last week that Nick Saban was in town. I wonder if he's the other guy on the committee. I wouldn't hate that idea, by the way. The idea of paying, a head football, the number it would take to get Nick Saban out of retirement is kind of ridiculous, right? But if we could lean on him for his expertise, for his insight, for his knowledge, if we can lean on him for, hey, Nick, who's the next you? I'd go for that. Go back to the lake house. Go back, eat some, oatmeal cream pies for breakfast. That's what you do. You are an absolute unicorn, and we'll always love you here. But who's the next you? Back to Governor Landry on the show yesterday. We covered a lot of ground in the conversation, but I want to go back to that presidential search. And I asked him straight up, once a new president is named, when it comes to your involvement with the day-to-day operations of LSU athletics, do you go away?
Oh, yeah. Well, look, once the president's involved, I'm hoping that my role goes back to snap, working on tax reform, keeping the economy humming, and of course, fixing all of the things that we've been fixing since we got elected.
20-minute interview yesterday. If I have one regret, I probably should have pressed him on that one. Probably should have followed up with hoping or you will. 6:30. Here's news. Good morning, Christy. Welcome in, sweetheart. Assuming you're in there, I honestly haven't even opened Facebook Live yet. I'm gonna share something with the Facebook audience that I'm not comfortable enough to say on air yet. I was having an off the record conversation last night with someone, and they slipped up and said something that it hasn't set right with me. In fact, I lost a lot of sleep over last night, trying to figure out if there was an angle to go here, and there's just no time to call anybody to follow up before the Board of Supervisors meets. But something that I heard this person say was, talk about the Board of Supervisors naming the next president. The phrasing was, I know a lot of people like Wade Rouse, but the governor's going to get his pick. And it made it sound like the pick was already in, and it wasn't Wade Rouse. And now I'm left like, is that enough to go? It's not enough to go with on the air. Everybody's been saying Wade Rouse, Wade Rouse, Wade Rouse. And like, it left me like questioning everything. Like, if I had one more day, I could chase it down, but I can't chase it down after 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. We'll see. 636 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Every Tuesday morning, we get caught up on what's going on down in the Big Easy. For that, we check in with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. He's on with us now. How are you, man? Helps if I hit the button. How are you, man?
I'm good, Brian. Good morning.
Good morning. Got a lot to cover this morning, although I would be remiss if I didn't start with the breaking news as of last night, but being reported this morning. That would be the passing of Dick Cheney. Jeff, you're a lifelong conservative. I'm a lifelong conservative. Dick Cheney was VP through a lot of our formative years.
Well, and he had a role in, Gerald Ford's administration. He was the chief of staff. I mean, he served in Congress. He was influential during the Reagan years. And of course, many people say that he was running the show when George W. Bush was president, that Cheney was very, very influential. And yeah, I mean, Cheney was the guy that George W. Bush turned to lead the search for a running mate, and wound up picking himself.
Imagine that.
And then he was, a very influential vice president, and of course, I think was part of the reason the Bush administration did what it did as far as foreign policy and, the response to 9/11, et cetera, was Dick Cheney's program. So, I think he's a controversial figure, obviously, and, sort of a lot of supporters, but a lot of people that don't like the direction. And he, led the country during the Bush administration. And then, his daughter has been very controversial, and obviously she has tried to carry on his legacy and run into problems with the Republican Party, because the Republican Party has just gone in a different direction since, Dick Cheney was VP.
And that's actually exactly where I wanted to take it, is that the Republican Party today versus the Republican Party when Dick Cheney was vice president, I mean, it's almost unrecognizable.
Exactly right. And that's Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump has, remade the Republican Party, moved it in a new direction, campaigned against the war in Iraq, which, of course, Dick Cheney was a big part of. And, he got the voters on his side. And I think part of that was just the dissatisfaction people had with how the Iraq war and the war in Afghanistan turned out.
Yeah.
And it was, part of the whole nation building type of campaign where we were going to, try to lead some countries toward democracy, and it just didn't work. And I think Donald Trump tapped into that and is sort of the leader of the MAGA agenda, the creator of the MAGA agenda, and that's polar opposites from what Dick Cheney and George W. Bush believed in. And that's why I think so many of these Republicans that supported that are upset with Donald Trump, because, they feel that, he's trampling on their legacy and moving the country in a new direction. And It's interesting to me that some of the people that hate Trump the most are what you would call Bush Cheney Republicans.
Right? I mean, and Bush Cheney Republicans were traditional Reagan Republicans to begin with.
Yeah. Well, and they went a little different direction from Ronald Reagan as far as foreign policy. Reagan was not as much of an interventionist as they were.
Also true. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Reagan was sort of a hybrid of Trump and Bush, Cheney. But yeah, it's very, very interesting to see how things have changed so dramatically from when that wing of the party was riding high to now, where there's so much on the outs, and they're so bitter. Right. And just look at Liz Cheney, how angry she has been over the past 10 years of Donald Trump.
Yeah, and it leaves a lot of people, sadly, without a party in spirit, but they have allegiance to a party in reality. And there's this weird, like, I don't, it's like you have a bunch of men without a country type scenarios.
Now, there have been a few people that have been able to thread the needle, and the one that comes to mind is Lindsey Graham. Because I think Lindsey Graham has a lot of the same positions that the Bush-Cheney administration had. But then he's also coupled that with strong support for Donald Trump, and he's still in President Trump's good graces. So he's been able to accomplish what very few have.
We're talking with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. We do have a lot to cover this morning. You know what? I do want to keep it on a national level, though. Read your column up at Town Hall yesterday, talking about John Fetterman, and the metamorphosis of John Fetterman has been nothing short of amazing. If we all rewind the clock back to when he was running, the Democrat Party just put him in such a bad spot. Let the poor man recover from his stroke rather than run him out there just to have someone on the ballot. And then turns out, like, once he's fully recovered, dude's got a decent head on his shoulders and makes some sense, and now he's going to be vilified for it.
Exactly right. I mean, he accomplished an amazing thing in a very sick condition, defeating a celebrity, Dr. Oz.
Right.
And, he was not able to really debate. And I saw that debate with Dr. Oz, and it was really tough to watch because he was just not ready, not in a condition to campaign or debate. You're right. They wouldn't change because they knew that he was their candidate. He was one person that could beat Dr. Oz. It was very, very popular. I mean, because he's got that sort of grassroots appeal. He's a man of the people. He walks around in a hoodie and shorts. I mean, he's just very based in that sort of a Pennsylvania upbringing, and he just connects with people, working class folks. You have a lot of in Pennsylvania. So he gets well, and then he becomes so independent, which I find so admirable, because I've been looking for someone in the Democrat Party that has showed some independence, some connection with a past Democrat Party that used to be centrist, and he's the only guy I can find, really. And so I wrote about him, and I just think he's an interesting phenomenon, because as he's gotten better, he's become more independent and ruffled more feathers within the Democrat Party and been celebrated more by Republicans. But he doesn't want to switch parties. I mean, he's comfortable being a Democrat, sort of a lonely Democrat. And, in the column, I pointed out all the different issues where Fetterman is on the other side from the Democrat Party, from Israel to immigration to now the shutdown. He's been very, very vocal in his criticism of the Democrat Party, and he's 100% right.
Well, and one of the things that runs him afoul of his own party is his introspectiveness, his willingness to look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm at fault from time to time. And look, this isn't just Democrats. This is across the board in politics right now. Admitting flaws is a weakness. It just by and large, you're not allowed to admit whenever you did anything wrong. And he does. And he's telling his own party, we were the ones that voted for the shutdown, so we need to fix it. And then at the same time says the idea that we can just, one fell swoop fix the country is just ludicrous. It's a fool's errand.
Right. Right. And I think he is, someone that is doing something that few Democrats are willing to do. And as you said, criticize the Democratic Party and criticize the direction that they're going, because so many are just fearful of doing that. And he says, I don't care. I mean, he's just very courageous in that he does not care. Maybe that's because he's, 6'6". I mean, guy's huge.
He is.
I don't, I mean, I don't know what it is, but he just is a breath of fresh air. I mean, I really come to like him because he's just so independent. He just seems real. He just connected to the people there in Pennsylvania. Seems to be really looking out for the people that are his constituents, and I like that. He doesn't seem to be bought and paid for, and that's just refreshing to see that.
Now, one of the things you do in your column is you take Fetterman and you move him over to the New York mayoral race, which I kind of want to ask about that a little bit because having just gone through a pretty monumental race in New Orleans for mayor, what are you seeing as far as the New York mayor's race, and are there similarities there that can match to other cities?
Yeah, there are similarities in that the outgoing mayor is very unpopular in New York. Eric Adams is very, very unpopular, had to drop out. He endorsed Cuomo. Here, the outgoing mayor, very unpopular, although she's term limited and couldn't run.
Mm-hmm.
So the theme in both cities is, new direction for the city. And in New Orleans, they elected someone that was part of the council and, was going to put a sort of a fresh face on sort of similar policies. And up in New York, you're going to have, if Mamdani wins, a whole new direction for the city with, city-run grocery stores and rent control and all the different parts of Mamdani's agenda, which are just, very socialist, very left-wing. And Fetterman has been very critical of Mamdani, very critical, where a lot of the party leaders had been caught and felt like they'd had to endorse him reluctantly, although Barack Obama did not officially.
Which I find interesting as well. I mean, not everybody has to have a take on every single race out there, but the mayor of New York is one that you're going to hear from just about everybody on, and it's intriguing that he hasn't sounded off on that front. We're talking with Jeff Crouere.
And it's the whole dynamic of the race is interesting because he beats Cuomo in the Democrat primary. Then Cuomo decides, okay, well, I'm going to run as an independent. And people feel like they're stuck, and if they want to stop Mamdani, he's the only way they can do it by voting for a guy who's got such a checkered past that he had to, he was forced out of the governor's mansion and, not embraced in the primary. He's just, sort of a relic of the past, and people don't really like his personality or what he's done, but he's it. I mean, because Sliwa poll show cannot stop him.
Yeah.
So it's Cuomo. That's why you got President Trump and Elon Musk and everybody encouraging people to vote for, hold your nose and vote for Cuomo. It's like the Edward Stream, the Edward Duke race.
Right.
Vote for the crook, it's aborted.
No, exactly. And there are similarities there as well. We got just 2 minutes left with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. Do want to ask you about some topics back home. It looks like the homelessness in the French Quarter is getting to be more of a headline again, and there seems to be a split on how to handle it.
Yeah, and I was just in that area over the weekend biking, and I can guarantee there is a definite problem. It has become rampant again from what we saw, just a few months ago when things were very much different in the city, in the preparation for the Super Bowl. I mean, now the problem has reasserted itself. So, you've got people on different sides between the French Quarter activists and, political leaders. And it just looks like, once again, the homelessness issue is at the forefront of, how we present New Orleans in a better way, how we deal with a longstanding problem that, just doesn't seem to go away. This group that I have done some work with, Grace of the Green Light, is very effective in connecting homeless folks with their family members and friends back home. Mm-hmm. But for every person, they bring back home, you have others that show up. So the problem just continues.
Do we know that it's others, or are we finding that, well, and this might be a little bit too intricate, but are we finding that the same folks who were shipped off before or moved off before are making their way back?
I think, they've had a good success record of people that have been reconnected with family, staying with their family and not coming back. There's a percentage that do come back, but it's relatively small. They find that it's new people that are attracted to New Orleans to come here and, just don't have the means to stay here, don't have the means to get involved, in a productive way and then become homeless. And in the city, the resources in the city are so strained And I mean, everything in New Orleans is difficult to really accomplish because of lack of resources. So, and then, we got the deficit and all the other issues we could spend hours talking about. But, the challenges for the new administration are just immense, Brian.
Oh no, absolutely. It is going to be a daily tall task, not just a one hit wonder. That's going to be going at it and going at it and going at it. In the meanwhile, we got to get to break. He is Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. Always appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Brian. Take care.
Thank you. We're super late for your money now. Let's hit it. Before we're going to do two different things here in this segment. I'm sending you a cut that I want to play before we get into the story about the. Keith says there are some people saying Landry's level of engagement as far as AD and head coach is going to make some talent think twice before coming to LSU. Is it? I mean, are you talking about players? If you're talking about players, if the NIL deals are there and the opportunity to get the NFL is there, I don't see them turning away. And if you're talking about coaches, if the money's there, like I I feel like we're trapping ourselves into the moment. We're going to start to change after today, and we'll continue to change moving forward once the new president's in place. Good morning, Kim. Got to meet Kim on Halloween night. Yeah. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. If you or someone you know or love is suffering from anxiety or depression, you need to hear about NeuroJust. More specifically, if you are seeing someone who is more treatment resistant, what does that mean? Well, you've been going to therapy for your anxiety or depression, it's not taking. Or you've been given a prescription and you don't like the way it makes you feel. You don't like the side effects. You don't like the diminishing returns. What they do at neurojust.com, if you wanted to check them out and read up on them a little bit, they specialize in TMS therapy, transcranial magnetic stimulation, non-invasive, completely, there are no side effects, and it's FDA approved. It's a treatment that is taking the nation by storm, and we have access to it right here in Baton Rouge with NeuroJust. Learn more at neurojust.com. Basically, these are magnetic pulses sent into the brain that target the area that affects mood. You go in, you put the helmet on, they do the treatment session, and it begins immediately to start calming those crashing waves that are in your mind, just to calm the seas. And over time, they'll get more and more calm, and you can right the ship. Learn more at neurojust.com. Chain cut. You're going to hear in ABC News coming up at the top of the hour. Obviously, it's going to be a breaking story throughout the morning. At 84 years old, Dick Cheney has passed away. We talked about it a little with Jeff Crouere in our last segment. How about we hear from the former vice president? He was very much a behind-the-scenes vice president, wasn't in front of the camera very often. However, there was back in 2004 during an interview, the Vice President Dick Cheney talked about himself. And very much as a servant and not as a person to be served.
My job is to offer advice, which I do, to take on assignments, which he gives me, which I do. But I say I'm there specifically to serve him in any way I can, and not worry a lot about what my public image might be, or am I warm and fuzzy, or am I perceived as the tough guy? I really don't worry about that.
Gotta respect that. Yes, like, I don't care what my public image is. Don't care how I'm perceived. I have a job to do, and I will get said job done. Dick Cheney passes away at the age of 84. Keeping an eye on the time to make sure that we're not running long here. The LSU Board of Supervisors is going to meet this morning, actually after the show's over with, to talk about to announce who will be the next university president. 3 finalists are in the hopper right now. University of Alabama Provost James Dalton, former University of Arizona president and Mississippi native Robert Robbins, and McNeese State president Wade Rouse. He's, by the way, the favorite. Currently, the LSU president oversees the entire system in the Baton Rouge campus. Rouse believes those 2 jobs should be separated.
To have both of those positions compressed really maybe do a disjustice for the outlying campuses.
It kind of does. And it because it's difficult to do. We've seen it especially with in the past, this job has been separated before. And it's kind of ebbed and flowed as to like the grass is greener on the other side, right? So we might see it split back up again. Who knows? Rouse believes there should be an LSU system president that's in charge of all the campuses, and then the chancellor for the flagship campus. The jobs were combined back in 2012. Rouse is currently McNeese's president. He's been in that role for a little over a year now. McNeese, non-research regional university. LSU's goal is, looking to be one of the top 50 research universities nationwide. Rouse says he understands how the research process works.
And I understand the brilliance it takes to be a part of that research process, but this is about leadership. And I think truly understanding that and being able to support them will be how I ultimately get their trust.
If he's named, tackling deferred maintenance on campus is going to be one of the top priorities.
That's the one that's jumped out to me the most in terms of the condition of our campus and how we fix the aesthetics to really make this a world-class institution that drives the inspiration of curiosity.
Which kind of lends to the point of there really should be a university system president, because if the system president is focused on the day-to-day maintenance of the campus, that's going to take away from other things. Well, I just feel terrible today. Oh. I gotta walk around for a second. Oh. 705 Talk 1073 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now from the 180 Pros studio. 180 Pros. Is it time for your IT to do a 180? Hit up 180pros.com. Brian here with you, JP producing. We're starting off the second hour of the show at 44 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Busy hour lined up for you this hour. We got Jake Polansky from the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership, formerly known as the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, at 7:15. Let's talk about the 2026 economic outlook as they're in the building stages of putting that together. Then we're going to speak with Shannon Abney from the Volunteers of America South Central Louisiana chapter, talking about the school readiness tax credit. That's at 7:35. Right now, though, we start off the 7 o'clock hour with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Two more people tied to a street racing incident, Hazel Munoz and Tyler Jackson Scott, have been arrested. BRPD said multiple vehicles were street racing along Mammoth Avenue near Monterey Boulevard around 2 a.m. Sunday. Police said there were reports of gunfire in the area. Officers stopped a vehicle in the area and was shot at. After pulling the car over, the officer found 2 stolen guns in the car and made the arrests.
Number 4.
At least 2 people were hurt in a shooting along Canonica Street on Monday evening. BRPD said that one happened shortly before 5:30 p.m. Canonicus near Wyandotte. Police said 2 victims were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Number 3.
Woman was shot inside of her mobile home by her roommate Monday afternoon, according to the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office. They said this happened at the Greenwell Village Mobile Home Park shortly after 1 p.m. Victim was taken to a hospital in critical condition. Deputies said the woman's roommate was detained.
Number 2.
Judge Gail Horn Ray was recused from presiding over the trial for Kaysen Carver, one of 4 people arrested in the alleged rape of Madison Brooks that happened back in 2023. The recusal was filed by the state, granted by Judge Brad Myers. There's a ton to unpack from this story, and it is going to be the topic of tomorrow morning's Legally Served.
Number 1.
9 o'clock this morning, that is when the LSU Board of Supervisors will meet. At that meeting, we will learn who is the next president of the Louisiana State University system.
Well, Donald Trump has conceded that it's pretty clear that he can't run for a 3rd term.
Yeah. Well, gotta go troll everybody with something else now. Put out something out there.
He will.
Yeah. No, I know, and everyone will bite, and he'll put out something shiny, and everyone will take something shiny.
Man, yeah, according to him, he has the highest poll numbers that he's ever had, and he spoke to some reporters on his Air Force One trip to South Korea.
Yeah.
Based on what I read, I guess I'm not allowed to run. So we'll see what happens.
Well, all right. What else you got?
Well, the rumor mill has been swirling since last week. Apparently, Nick Saban was in town.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Head coach, athletic director, just general consultant, whatever we can get out of Nick Saban, I'm here for it.
That's right.
Let's just keep him here. Somebody buy Miss Terry lunch like every day.
That's
every day. Like, I don't care where she's at. Just your money's no good here.
There you go.
Not just paying the former coach, but like making sure they know that this is home.
Yeah, and I wonder if it started with Shaq saying that he heard through the grapevine that LSU had talked to Nick Saban.
So I've heard from over the past couple of days about a dozen people who said Nick Saban was in town last week.
Okay, like, yeah.
I never know if these things are true.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's I don't know. It's one of those ones where, if we all recall the last time we went through a coaching search, or honestly, the Les Miles coaching search was probably the most ludicrous one.
Yeah.
People were following FlightAware, following to see whose plane was where. I'm able to sit back and say, let's watch it play out. We'll talk about it after.
That's right.
Yeah.
And keeping it with Baton Rouge, 2 Baton Rouge area restaurants and 3 in New Orleans have made the cut for the Michelin Southern Regional Guide. Elsie's Plate and Pie and St. Francisville Inn are the Capital Region representatives.
So I was asked after you announced that last hour, who were the 3 in the New Orleans area?
Right.
And it's Emeralds, Saint Germain, and Zasu, all on the list.
Okay.
So those are your 3 down that way. And like you said, it's Elsie's Plate and Pie, which has never missed. I don't know that they've ever missed. They're awesome. And of course, not trending yet because it's still breaking, but former Vice President Dick Cheney passed away overnight, or late last night, 84 years old. The Associated Press is reporting on it, and that let me get the actual details here. Died Monday night due to complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. And oh, by the way, the cardiac and vascular disease, he's been carrying that around for years and years and years. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, when he was named vice president, his vascular health or his heart health was questioned way back then. So former Vice President Dick Cheney passes at the age of 84. We're at 7:11 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Do need to remind you about the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs. Printshop5.com is the home base for Danny and his team at 5 Star Printing and Signs. The home base online, that is. The home base in real life, right next door to Big Mike's out in Denham, which makes it very, very, very convenient for if you are anywhere in the greater Baton Rouge area. Hop on range, hop on the interstate. Danny can help you out very, very quickly. He's not confined to Denham where the home base is. Give him a call at 271-4096, 271-4096. If your printed material, if your business cards, if your brochures, if they are not top of mind all the time, It's out of sight, out of mind. Make sure you have something that pops. Make sure you have something that's remarkable, as in to be remarked upon. Give Danny a call, 271-4096 for 5-Star Printing and Signs. I'm hurting, man. I should have stayed home today. I don't know what to do with the show, but like, I feel like absolute dog shit. Yeah. Whether it's Baton Rouge blunders or DC drama, Moon's got the hot takes and hometown humor to keep you laughing and thinking. No fluff, no filter, just Moon being Moon. Listen and subscribe on all your favorite platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. You can also download the Moon Griffon podcast to catch every episode right here at talk1073.com. Going to get caught up with Jake Polansky from the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. Nailing the new name, formerly the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. Looking forward to talk with him about the 2026 economic outlook for the area. In fact, he's on with us right now, so let's waste no time. Jake, how are you this morning?
Hey, Brian, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well. So how much do we know about the 2026 economic outlook, and how much are we still learning?
Yeah, so we still are learning a lot, to be honest. Each year, the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership, we come out with, at the end of the year, an economic outlook report, which is our take on what the capital region should expect moving into the new year. And one of the biggest pieces of this economic outlook is the annual survey that we send out. And the audience for this survey are business leaders, business owners, and corporate executives. So if you are a C-suite executive or a manager at your firm, anyone who has a good pulse on really what's going on in your business, then you should take our survey, which is available at greaterbatonrouge.org. But what the survey really does is it helps us understand what businesses across the capital region are expecting in terms of headcount in the upcoming year. You know, are you going to be hiring people? Do you plan to lay off people? It helps us understand revenue expectations. Do you expect your revenue to grow, to fall in the upcoming year? But I think one of the most critical pieces of the survey is the issue question. We have one question in particular where it lists 20 some odd different obstacles that you may be facing as a business owner in the region right now. Everything from healthcare costs to input costs to availability of talent to crime to local schools. I mean, it's really a wide variety of options from which you can choose. And what we really want you to do is go in and mark down every single obstacle that's currently impacting your business, because what this does is it helps us understand what our pain points are across the region, so that when we talk to the Metro Council members and when we talk to our legislative delegation, we can help them understand, you know, what our businesses locally are really feeling and what their pain points are right now.
Is there any way to determine, like, you know, just trend wise? I think we've seen kind of the same top issues in the past. Workforce and crime. I mean, we've heard it repeatedly. Is there a reason to think it would be different for this year?
I think it's interesting that you asked that because we had our thoughts when we sent out the survey initially, and it's been in the field for about a week. It's still going to be in the field through next Friday, and we started to look at some of the initial results. And you're right. In the past, in last year specifically, the last 2 years, workforce has been at the top. People are saying that they have too many open positions. They cannot get enough applicants for their positions, and the people who do apply, they simply don't have the skills or the qualifications that they need to do those jobs effectively. So we thought that it was going to be kind of the same story this year. But when we looked at some of the initial results, what was interesting is that traffic for the first time in 4 or 5 years is coming up as the top issue facing local businesses. And, this is up to us to kind of suss out, what do people mean when they say traffic is impacting their business? Is it, it is causing shipping delays and that is having a significant negative impact on business operations? Or is it, I'm driving in from Livingston or Ascension Parish every day and I hate I-10 and I-12 and that's causing me personally a lot of pain. So we do have to kind of suss out what the issue there is. But overall, it's really interesting to kind of dive into these results, and there's still a lot of time to influence, what it is that we are going to be advocating for going into 2026. So again, if you are a business leader and you have not taken the survey, I encourage you to do so. It's at greaterbatonrouge.org/EO survey.
We're talking with Jake Polansky from the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. Haven't missed the name once. Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership, formerly the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. Jake, want to ask you a little bit about, actually, let me follow up on that. Will we be able to determine if workforce got better or traffic got worse?
And that's a part of it, because I think we have to understand this survey in the context of some of these national trends that we're seeing. And we're seeing across the country as well as locally, we're seeing hiring slow down as we head into the new year. Right. So I don't think that issue is necessarily unique to us. Maybe employers last year had 5 or 10 open positions that they were looking to fill, and this year it's maybe just a couple or maybe none at all. We have seen a lot of employers more so this year than in the past saying that they plan to keep their headcounts the same moving into the new year. And that's particularly notable because employers, corporate executives are generally optimistic about their own business moving into the new year. So that piece is notable, but that does reflect national trends. On the traffic piece, I think this is something that we talk a lot about. I think maybe part of it is, if you have other business issues that maybe become less pressing over time, what just kind of rises to the top of your priority list is, at the end of the day, traffic. If you have other parts of your business that are going well, then at the end of the day, a lot of people are still commuting in 45 minutes an hour every day, and that is going to be a personal pain point for a lot of people.
Well, and there's also the possibility it's a long-term after effect of COVID. There's a lot more people who are in the back to the office scenario now, and a lot less remote work.
No, you're absolutely right about that. There's a great transportation research institute at Texas A&M, and they just came out with a report. It was early this week or late last week, something like that. But they looked at exactly what you're talking about. Basically, how much time are people spending in traffic now across all the major regions across the country versus prior to COVID in 2019. And in like 90% of the nation's largest regions, including Baton Rouge, traffic has gotten worse in 2024 compared to 2019. It's because exactly what you said. We are a growing country. Baton Rouge is, believe it or not, a growing region. Our population has grown relative to where we were 5-10 years ago. And as the population grows, we're going to have more cars on the road. And that's going to be a pretty difficult issue to tackle. And it's going to be difficult to build new roads our way out of this traffic issue that is so pressing, not only here in Baton Rouge, but across the nation.
We got Jake Polansky from the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. I want to ask you about one of the questions that's in the survey. It says, in the capital region, how effectively do you think the local government entities, businesses, and nonprofits work together towards shared priorities? Traditionally, has this been a more negative answer or a more positive answer?
So this is actually a new question that we inserted on this year's survey, because one of the things that our organization is thinking a lot about as we move into 2026 is kind of these cross-parish dynamics and these regional dynamics, and trying to understand, how do our parish governments work together? How do elected officials across parish boundaries work together? Businesses across parish boundaries, how do they all work together? Because, we are just, realizing, like a lot of regions across the country are realizing, that to think about our issues in the context of a single city or a single parish is simply not the most effective way to think about our issues. And I'll point to an Advocate article from yesterday that was great. It was talking about the new data center that's going into West Feliciana Parish. And it was talking about a lot of the great tax revenues and a lot of the public benefits that West Feliciana Parish is going to see. But it kind of stopped at the borders of West Feliciana Parish. And I think to think about that data center and that investment as only benefiting West Feliciana Parish, I think that is not telling the full picture, because I promise you, East Feliciana will see benefits from that investment, and so will East Baton Rouge and other parishes across the capital region. So we are really trying in this year's survey to kind of capture some of these regional dynamics as well, to understand how we can better work together across the capital region moving into this next year.
We got Jake Polansky from the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership on with us. I want to ask you about the, actually, it's the very next question in the survey. How responsible do you think each of the following groups are for advancing long-term progress in the 9-parish capital region? And it's broken down, young professionals, business leaders, university presidents, local officials, faith leaders, and there's a few other options there as well. This is one that I'm going to find very intriguing, because this is going to reflect upon who has the most energy.
I think you're right. And this is honestly, I'm glad you said that. This is the question that I'm personally most excited about too, because I think it's going to tell us who regional business leaders think should be driving change across the capital region. And what's been very interesting to see is that so far in the preliminary results that we've looked at, business leaders think that they themselves are most responsible, more responsible than elected officials, more responsible than regional or community nonprofit organizations. Business leaders think that they themselves, the business leaders, should be the ones driving change across the capital region. And, on paper, it makes sense. A lot of elected officials get termed out pretty quickly, whereas if you are a business leader, if you are a corporate executive, you could stay in that role for 15, 20, 30 years, and you could really drive investment, not only in your business and your community, but also across the broader capital region. And so I think that we're going to be able to use this as a tool to kind of help business leaders understand that, look, you are all the ones who need to really be the ones driving change across our capital region. And of course, organizations like the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership and our elected officials play a huge role in that as well. But it's really interesting to see that business leaders kind of name themselves, so far at least, as the ones who should be driving this regional change.
Well, and we've seen this recently, a trend more towards, from a business leader's perspective, there's an overall, how can I help? Especially when it comes to fighting crime, especially when it comes to, the camera initiative and the like. We've found a lane for business to be proactive about crime in Baton Rouge, and those business leaders have responded.
I think when you look at some of the most successful cities and some of the most successful regions in the country, it is not the elected officials who really drove change there. It is the business leaders in that community who drove change. And one example that I always point to is Detroit. Detroit has seen an incredible renaissance over the last couple decades, driven almost entirely by the business community. And the city of Detroit's population actually grew for the first time in 3 or 4 decades last year. So, I mean, the impact that business leaders can have cannot be overstated. I mean, they are the ones who really hold so much power and so much influence in determining how this capital region progresses forward.
And that's not to take away from any of the other categories within there. It's just that the dollars and cents are going to be driven by the business leaders. I respect the space for your K through 12 system leaders, your nonprofits or religious or faith-based leaders, but who's going to be providing the jobs is going to be the business leaders. So that's that. I want them first, and I want their input first.
Absolutely. And I mean, one of the options there is university presidents and university leadership. And I mean, we're going to hear who the new LSU president is later today, and they're going to have a huge role. They're going to play a huge role in the future of the capital region. They're going to be the one training our future workforce. They're going to be the ones attracting research dollars to the region. So, I mean, again, yeah, I agree with you. It's not entirely business leaders. I think all of the options that you see on this survey, all of these different categories of people play a huge role in making sure that the capital region 10 years from now, 20 years from now is a lot better than the one that we see today.
Now, as we put together the 2026 economic outlook, and by the way, it's if you go to greaterbatonrouge.org, you can follow along click by click till you get to the actual survey. But I got to ask Jake Polansky with the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership as our guest. I got to ask, when you're breaking down the demographics, it seems glaring that there's a few questions missing here, man. Under the demographics part, you ask what parish they're from, which non-parish area. Respect that. You ask what type of business they own, or what size of business they own, I should say. Sole proprietor, 2 to 9 employees, 10 or more, and it goes up from there. You ask gender, male, female, or prefer not to answer. But when talking about economic outlook, I feel like there's a few more questions that need to go in there. Do you have a minute for me to just brainstorm with you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think one that you may be thinking about is industry in which the business is operating in.
Close. I would ask, have you ever sent back a meal at a restaurant? That needs to be in there as well. It lends to their curmudgeonliness, right? Do you argue with officials at child sporting events? That would be a good question to include in there. It tells you who they are and what their outlook is going to be, right? It's do you ever click through the TV and say there's nothing on? These are the questions you'll need to be asking, Jake.
You're absolutely right. And last year there were a lot more free response, a lot more open response on the survey, and we got a lot of exactly what you're describing. So we did decide to reduce the amount of free response and make it a little bit more objective in this year's. But again, I think the importance of local business leaders letting us know what issues that they're facing cannot be exaggerated enough. I mean, we need to understand. We need to have a good temperature check and a good pulse check on what the businesses across our region are thinking and what they're feeling, so that we can advocate for their priorities, both locally and at the state capitol.
Well, I set that up, and I have a little fun on purpose because traditionally here in Baton Rouge, we seem to be our worst critics. And you go anywhere else and ask about the outlook of Baton Rouge, and they'll tell you about how awesome the people are and how wonderful the business climate is on its best day. But you ask within Baton Rouge, and we hear about how it is on its worst day.
It's true, and I think a lot of this is changing for the better very rapidly, especially some of our our statewide metrics, our education rankings are improving rapidly, our state tax climate is improving rapidly, and it's going to take some time for people's perceptions to improve. These perceptions of Louisiana and of Baton Rouge don't change overnight, but I do think that there is a lot of significant progress being made that is worth celebrating as well.
And in the meanwhile, how long is the survey open till?
Survey's open for 10 more days through November 14th. And we want as many Capital Region business leaders, executives, business owners, even if you're a sole proprietor, we want to hear from you.
He is Jake Polansky with the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. We always appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much for hopping on board.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Always. We are approaching 7:30 at Talk 107.3 FM. Hey, before we get your break, got to remind you about Matherns. Matherns, they're downtown. They're downtown on 3rd Street, nestled in between 3rd and 4th. You'll find them on campus in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. You will also find Matherns on Highland Road, just west of Kenilworth. That's kind of their OG location, actually. If you remember way back in the day when there used to be a Kenilworth supermarket there, same family, same ownership. They're back at their home base now. And I don't know if you've seen what they've done with the place, but it is phenomenal. Tell you about Matherns to tell you about the upcoming holiday season. Thanksgiving is just around the corner. There is no reason to break your back for Thanksgiving. Let them lighten your load just a little bit. Hit up the catering menu at Matherns. Hit up the catering menu either on the website or on the app. I recommend the app. Hit up the catering menu and let them lighten the load. Let them do the mac and cheese. Let them do the green beans. Heck, let them do the turkey. It's all available on the app. It's Matherns. Download the rewards app today. We're coming up on 7. We're at 7:30. It's time to get caught up with ABC News and our own local news, traffic, weather. We're talking schools next. Meanwhile, Sean's doing. You're right here. Meanwhile, Sean's doing news this morning. So. All right, so we're always on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Camera's right over there. We're still tinkering with the lighting because I don't know. We've traditionally a radio show, but all content is short form video now. So we're doing our best to keep up. So. Yes. Awesome. I love the partnership with Louisiana Radio Network. Okay. That man is an absolute legend.
Yes.
It's impossible to work in radio in Baton Rouge and not have learned something from him.
Yeah.
I've never worked directly with him, but just from listening to his interview style, which I don't think I've taken a whole lot, but from just his preparedness, his work ethic, guy's just a staple. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's going to be over here because we're going to be.
He's great. He always throws he always ask you a strange question that you're not at all prepared to answer.
Yes.
Which is fun. I mean, I know to expect it. And is your audience mainly Greater Baton Rouge, or is it okay? Because we serve 27 parishes in Louisiana. I know.
Okay.
Crazy, and I just kind of was wanting to know what your audience was. So, I didn't know if I should mention the tax credit. We serve 23 parishes with our early childhood program.
Okay.
I think we should focus more on Greater Baton Rouge.
All good. .736 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Don't forget Talk 107.3 and Duplessis Pool Builders are giving away a dream pool by helping out dreams come true. Every $25 donation you make supports dreams come true, granting wishes for Louisiana kids with life-threatening illnesses and get you entered to win. By the way, donate $100, you get 5 entries. Where do you do that? You do it at talk1073.com. All right. Let's continue talking about children. Let's talk about how you can help out when it comes to the school readiness tax credit. We have got Shannon Abney from the Volunteers of America. Is it South Central Louisiana region?
South Central Louisiana.
Awesome. I'm going to give you just like open floor. The school readiness tax credit serves us how?
Okay. Well, it's a great way that businesses in Louisiana, they get the opportunity to direct their tax dollars directly in an investment in children in the community by making a donation through the Louisiana School Readiness Tax Credit Program. So it's a program that's been around for a while. A lot of businesses don't know about it, but just in a nutshell, it's a program created by our state to try to increase the quality of early childhood education. And it allows businesses with a Louisiana tax ID number to receive a 100% refundable dollar for dollar tax credit for donations each year to early childhood education in their community.
Up to
$5,000. So you can make a donation in any amount up to $5,000 every year. And those donations are made to state designated child care resource and referral agencies in each parish. So the state designates one organization that they work with every year to provide services and support to child care centers, early learning centers, family home providers. And in the greater Baton Rouge area, Volunteers of America South Central Louisiana serves as that organization.
Very cool stuff. Now, what do y'all do with it?
Okay. So we, with these donations, we already provide services and support through our work with the Department of Education each year. But with these donations, we're able to every year do new and exciting projects to support the community. We work with over 400 early learning centers in the area. I know I mentioned to you earlier, but we not only serve the greater Baton Rouge area, but we also serve the Lafayette, Lake Charles, and Alexandria area. We've been serving greater Baton Rouge for over 100 years. We opened our doors in 1921 here, serving the community's most vulnerable. We have over 50 community programs, but these funds go directly to our early childhood program, which is called Partnerships in Child Care. And through this program, we provide education to teachers and child care directors. We provide improvement grants. We have a fabulous program called Project PlaySmart, where we provide classroom makeovers with the funds that we receive. We've done 63 of those to date in the area. Last year, we invested $100,000 in that. But we also provide resources to teachers, mentoring, technical assistance. Our goal is to increase the quality of early childhood education, and we do that in many ways.
We have seen great strides in childhood or in education in Louisiana in recent years, just moving up the charts left and right. And a lot of this is a lot of folks rowing in the same direction. Having kids, quote unquote, kindergarten ready is unbelievably important in this. And from what you're telling me, it sounds like this serves that goal directly.
Absolutely. Our goal, well, I don't know if you know, this is an alarming statistic, but only 54% of Louisiana's children enter kindergarten ready to learn. And I do think we're making great strides in that direction. And also, 90% of a child's brain develops before the age of 5. So this program, even more important, there's so much right now where not only are we helping children prepare for kindergarten, which is our goal, which will help them succeed in kindergarten and in life, but it also strengthens our economy because it allows parents to have their children in a safe, quality early learning center, and it allows them to enter the workforce, get to work, and strengthens the economy in the long run.
So this is one of the things we run into when it comes to early child care or early child development, I should say, when it comes to early childhood education, is walking that balance between every time we pitch that it helps parents get back to work, it gets misconstrued as daycare. As I was reading up on this, what I'm taking away is a lot of this effort goes towards making sure those early childhood teachers are actually able to teach, like are actually knowing how to master the curriculum and share with those who are beneath the kindergarten age.
Absolutely. One thing that one of the things that I'm really proud of that we've done, we have put with these tax credit funds, we have put almost 200 teachers through our program called Teacher Institute, which is a 9-month program, which gives them their early childhood ancillary certificate, which is required by the state. We also have programs to help train teachers. I don't know if you know the childcare industry and early learning industry runs on razor thin margins, and
Oh, yeah.
the turnover. I mean, some of these teachers could make more money working at Taco Bell.
Right.
Not there's anything wrong with that, or Costco. So it's a constant turnover. So we have programs like our new teacher boot camp, which basically helps teachers with the turnover, getting them up to speed quickly, so that they can get in there to support the children and really make a difference.
We are talking with Shannon Abney with the Volunteers of America, South Central Louisiana a chapter about the school readiness tax credit. I do want to save some time on the back end to make sure we talk about how to go about it. But I want to continue on with what the efforts actually do along the way. Outside of teacher preparation for the academic, end of it, there is, call it, socialization end as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the children, there's all these studies that show that a good start, a solid foundation in early childhood education will help children when they get to kindergarten. They're ready to learn. They're more likely to stay in school. There was actually a study done out of the Federal Reserve Bank that talked about for every dollar invested in early childhood that they're the basically coming back to saves our economy $17 with improved school performance, reduced crime costs, welfare costs, increased wages, and more. And I guess there's some other statistics around children that get this quality start and prepared for kindergarten. They're 29% more likely to graduate high school. 33% more likely to earn higher wages, 70% more likely to avoid conflicts with the law. It's basically setting them up where they're succeeding in middle school, then in high school and beyond.
In other words, it's a better way to help them play well with others.
Yes.
And be a little more goal driven. That's those two takeaways seem very obvious to me in what reading I did. So
well, and this is, I mean, believe it or not, there's kids that enter kindergarten, they don't know what the sound a cow makes, moo. They have not been read to, like, we're thinking about maybe our children that have been read to every evening. These are kids that haven't had those experiences. They haven't been exposed to early literacy like other children. And when these kids need a good early start, they deserve an great early start. I mean, I think there's some that say that an investment in early childhood education is the best investment a state can make for their future. These are our future workforce, these kiddos.
Well, it's the best investment. What were the raw numbers? Again, it was like something like you said, $17 for every dollar invested.
For every dollar invested, that the state in the long term would receive $17 in improvements.
How do we go about applying this? I mean, it goes through y'all to them. I want to walk us through the process of getting these more than 200 teachers through the program.
Okay, absolutely. First, I want to say last year we had over 120 businesses that donated through this program. It's very easy. The first thing is you can visit our website, voascla.org/SRTC. So that's voascla.org/SRTC. And all of the information is there, the easy step-by-step process. But breaking it down, one of the most important things I want to mention is that donations must be made by December 31st to be claimed on 2025 taxes. So this is the best time of year for businesses to make their donation. They can donate now up to $5,000, and then they turn around, file their taxes, get their money back. But like I said, donations have to be made by December 31st. So you visit our website. We have a one-page contribution form you fill out. You make your donation to Volunteers of America South Central. My information is on the website, by the way. I'm happy to talk to any business about the program, my email address, my phone number. And so donations can be made by check, credit card, online. and we process those donations. And within a couple of weeks, we supply businesses with the tax receipt and information they need to file their taxes.
The early childhood or the school readiness tax credit isn't the only thing y'all do, though. How can we
Correct.
make sure that these dollars are headed towards this credit?
So when well, I make sure that we do that.
Yeah.
But so we every donation that we get, we not only it's not only designated for our early childhood program, but we also keep track of each parish. So if you're making a donation from Ascension Parish, your money's going back to Ascension.
Right.
If you're at Greater Baton Rouge, it's going back to Greater Baton Rouge. But so we've been doing this now. Our early childhood program, we've been serving Greater Baton Rouge for over 30 years, and we have been taking these donations for 14 years. So our program is tried and true, and we have a very close relationship with the state, who works closely with us on how these funds are invested each year.
What's the goal for this year for the number of teachers we're going to help you get through?
Well, I would like to see. Well, we help about 15,000 teachers. I mean, it's a lot of folks in the community. We touch them in one way or another. But I hope that we at least 500 teachers in the area either go through our teacher boot camp or our teacher institute, or we work with them every day. The work that we do is we actually visit the child care centers and early learning centers, and we work with them every day to help them, increase the quality in their schools. So that's something that we do every day.
The businesses who can help out with this is pretty much everybody under the sun. Any business out there can help out along the way. Who traditionally, where do you see the biggest help from?
Well, I think we see a lot from everyone, but a lot of businesses that have LLCs. I think that's an important thing. I'm glad you brought that up. So the tax credit can be taken against individual income tax or your corporate income tax. So you can file it on either one. So if your business is a partnership or LLC or S corp and you flow through to your individual return, you can make this donation up to $5,000. It flows through to your individual return. And the best thing about this, Brian, is it's 100% refundable. And so a lot of people don't know what that means. It's not a regular donation. You get every dollar you give back on your taxes. So if you donate 5,000 and you owe the state 5,000 at the end of the year, it's a line item on your tax return.
Love that.
You owe zero at the end of the year. So.
Got to get it in before December 31st.
voascla.org.
Knew I was going to stumble through it. voascla.org if you wanted to make your donation, up to $5,000, completely refundable. She is Shannon Abney with the VOA, South Central Louisiana. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're coming up on Your Money Now at Talk 107.3 FM. We will take that break. We'll check traffic on the back end and continue next.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff. That went fast.
It did go fast.
She'll kill Mike's. 7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're about to throw out the news at the top of the hour. When we come back, hour 3, we'll have this day in history. Moon Griffon's gonna pop in for a quick minute at 8:15, and then we're gonna the most polar diametric shift ever. We'll go from Moon Griffon to Troy Carter for DC Current, presented by LABI. Before we get you back in anything this hour for this segment, I do need to remind you that you can win big this holiday season. Talk 107.3 and Citizens Bank and Trust want to cover your rent or mortgage in 2026 up to $15,000. Enter now at talk1073.com. It's home for the holidays, brought to you by Citizens Bank and Trust. Man, wanted to get back into yesterday's interview with Governor Landry as we move forward through the morning, because one of the things he talked about yesterday, we're not going to have any audio from it right here, but one of the things he talked about yesterday that I wanted to reiterate was that Louisiana was able to step up and cover SNAP benefits for the month of November on a couple of different fronts, not just providing dollars for food, but when we had, was it Jack McFarland we had on talking about this last week, JP? We had, there's dollars for job training. And the dollars for job training, I think, is probably more important than the dollars for food, because the job training, they get you off SNAP. When we're talking with Jake Polansky about workforce questions, yeah, that's diminishing as a top priority or a top problem or issue or obstacle for business. But nonetheless, it is still out there. And being able to obtain real employment, good employment, I mean, it's not just good for the bottom line, it's good for the soul as well. And that's a big part of what got done within our state legislature as the federal government remains shut down. Just a couple of quick little news items here before we get you to the top of the hour for ABC News. We are a little over an hour away from the LSU Board of Supervisors meeting. And at that meeting, we are going to hear that they have named a new president. A lot of folks are thinking it's Wade Rouse, the guy from McNeese State. That's not an unpopular pick. In fact, our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network noting that he has been the front runner, the favorite, as it were. In fact, Rouse coming into this role, or potentially coming into this role, I want to go back to cut 10 if you could, JP. Potentially coming in this role, Rouse acknowledges that going from McNeese to LSU, it's a big jump, if for no other reason, not just population, not just LSU has a whole bunch of campuses around the state, but the research university part of this is important as well.
To have both of those positions compressed really maybe do a disjustice for the outlying campuses.
Sorry, that one was actually about splitting the job up between a university system president and a chancellor. Here he is talking about Research Projects 11.
And I understand the brilliance it takes to be a part of that research process, but this is about leadership. And I think truly understanding that and being able to support them will be how I ultimately get their trust.
We're about an hour and change away from that meeting actually happening. Now, I will tell you the calls are already in. I want to get first bite at the apple tomorrow, either from Wade Rouse or from a member of the LSU Board of Supervisors. So we will we'll be following it closely as the announcement is made once the Board of Supervisors meeting is wrapped up. We got news coming your way in just 1 minute, which gives me enough time to remind you about the folks at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is where you're going to find them online. In real life, where you're going to find them? Well, I would recommend starting online. Hit that little About Us tab. And find their locations right there. Landmark Bank. Don't just get a bank, get a banker. LandmarkBankLA.com. I reset the clock, and now it didn't start back up again. I'm 30 seconds behind. So that's my bad. Yep. Don't mind at all, sir. That is me. Awesome sauce. We're good to go. All right. Gets easier every time. Kill the mics. Oh no, JP, I forgot to put a Diet Coke in the fridge.
Oh no.
I know. Moon's in the building and the Diet Coke's not cold yet. Tell you what, you know what comes right now, right?
Of course.
So you're gonna have to take the helm real quick.
Let's do this.
Okay, it's time for this. Oh, hey, whoa! I almost forgot. Hour 3 is coming your way right now, broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. 180 Pros, not your IT provider, your IT partner. All right, let's hit it.
All right, we are going to begin.
Did I break the light?
In 19, you might have broke something. It's okay though.
Did I break the light?
No, you didn't break it.
Well,
Nothing's
it sounded
broken.
really bad.
Oh, it sounded bad. It sounded terrible, but I don't think anything's broken.
All
At least nothing I'm willing to admit on air. So anyway, 1922, Howard Carter discovers the intact tomb of King Tut.
Howard Carter?
Yeah.
Really?
They had to make that known. Yeah, Howard
In
Carter.
what year?
1922.
That's crazy.
Wow. An intact tomb. Wow.
Well, because, I mean, he discovered the tomb of King Tut in 1922 and then went on to play in the Final Four basketball team for LSU in 81.
There you go.
Different Howard Carter?
I think so.
All right, fine.
I think so.
All right, fine.
2 years later, California legalizes professional
Not the Howard
boxing.
Carter that went to Redemptress.
No, not that.
Might have played with Moon. We don't know.
Might have. Oh, my goodness.
Why do we get goofy like this when he gets in the building?
I don't know. There's certain people, Brian.
I know.
That just come
I know.
through and you feel like you could just let your hair down. I mean, it's not much that we have collectively,
I
but
keep
you
it
know.
tight, man.
I know. We just,
All right.
California legalizes professional boxing in 1924.
Okay.
It was illegal since 1914.
Really?
Yeah.
But New Orleans was the hub for boxing, though.
Yeah.
New Orleans was not just the French Quarter, but out in like Lakeview area,
Right.
Bucktown area.
Mm.
Yeah.
1961. American folk singer Bob Dylan makes his Carnegie Hall debut.
Okay.
Tickets priced at $2.
Mm.
Speaking of debuts, a few years later, 1967, Pink Floyd make their U.S. live debut. So, pretty cool stuff there. 1979, 500 Iranian students were seized. Or no, they seized the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, taking 90 hostages for 444 days.
Yeah. Yep. Not to be released until Ronald Reagan was sworn in.
Which was 1980.
This was the Ben Affleck movie Argo.
Yes.
Decent movie, underrated movie, by the way. I did not hate it. Ringing endorsement. I did not hate it.
Sure. And of course, as I mentioned, 1980 was when Ronald Reagan was elected president. And keeping it with presidents, 2008 was when Obama becomes president.
Barack Obama.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see.
2001.
Okay.
The first film adaptation of J.K. Rowling's best-selling Harry Potter series hits the screen.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
That's it. 2022, astronomers announced the discovery of the closest known black hole to Earth, just 1,600 light years away and 10 times bigger than the sun.
Yeah.
Hey, did we ever check on that Atlas thing or whatever? Atlas 31?
Atlas
how's
31.
How's that looking?
No, I'm ignoring it for right now.
Okay. Speaking of black holes. Hey, want to move on to birthdays?
Oh, do you?
I don't know.
Could get slippery.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
Well, we're going to start with Walter Cronkite.
Oh, okay. He's not slippery.
No. Not by now. I mean,
go ahead.
What? What?
No, you see who's on the list.
Who am I going to miss?
You know who's on the list.
Matthew McConaughey?
No. That's not who I was talking
Ralph
about.
Macchio?
Not who I was talking about.
Who do you have on your list?
I've got one Sean Combs on the list today.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, he got knocked down to the bottom of this list then.
Born on this day in 1970, American rapper Sean Combs.
Oh, man. Did
he?
Yep. Come on. Did he?
Did he? Yes, he did. Matthew, like you said, Matthew McConaughey. Kathy Griffin's on this list as well.
Okay.
Laura Bush, former First Lady.
Yep.
Got her down there. Des Bryant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else you got?
No, and I don't know. that would be notable.
Try one.
I don't know. There's Guy Martin.
Who?
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man. Let's see. Will Rogers?
Yeah, there we go. We can roll with that one.
Doris Roberts as well.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, Marie Barone. There you go. A lot of baseball deaths today.
Yeah. Well, I'll begin. The death was Michael Crichton.
Oh, author of Jurassic Park. And yeah. We had
ER as well. I didn't realize
who?
that. ER. The show
Yes.
ER. I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Man.
Forgot about that. Sparky Anderson, former Tigers manager, died on this day in 2010. Grover Cleveland Alexander, not to be confused with Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland Alexander died on this day in 1950. You had Cy Young, who weirdly enough never won the Cy Young Award. He died on this day in 1955. And Andy Rooney died on this day in 2011.
Right. Wow.
And I believe that was all I had.
Okay. Let's see. National days here.
Yep.
I mean, well, election day.
It is election day. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's not so much here.
Right.
We have not, well, you know what? It is election day here because early voting's open for the November 15th election.
That's right.
November 15th, we will go to the polls. November 15th is where you'll see props 1, 2, and 3 on your ballot. If you are so inclined as to vote for Thrive EBR, it's actually listed as props 1, 2, and 3 on your ballot on November 15th, but early voting is open right now. So technically it is election day. 812 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Of course, this day in history brought to you every day by 5 Star Printing and Science. Got to tell you about them earlier. I do need to remind you about the folks over at Vex European, though. VexEuropean.com is the website if you want to check them out. They specialize in the maintenance and repair of European vehicles. If you drive a European vehicle, hit up VexEuropean.com. See if your make of vehicle is on that little vehicles tab. And look, if you bought a European vehicle, you bought it for performance and you bought it for longevity. And you can maximize both with a little Vexpertise. Mercedes-Benz, get yourself a Mercedes tech. BMW tech. Jaguar, yeah, the dealership's closed. No, you're not left in the lurch. You've got VexEuropean.com. Make the appointment right there on the website. In fact, check out the specials. See if you can't save yourself $100 on your first visit over at VexEuropean.com. Quick break. Let's chat with Moon next. What? Hey, Moon, come on. $8:15 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Need to remind you about the folks over at Breck. Breck.org is where you're going to find them online. In real life, they're everywhere. Breck facilities all over the city parish. And one of the things I love about Breck is they kind of have to be all things to all people on a recreational front. So whatever it is you're into, they've got you covered. We had our cross-country party out at the Highland Road Park on Sunday. I think it was Sunday. And went out to the Highland Road Park, saw people playing Frisbee golf all over the place. People just out there running, walking their dogs, just generally being a part of the community. Different parties going on under different pavilions. That's just one park with so many different facilities available. They've got something for you. Learn more at breck.org. All right, I normally hops in on a Monday, but we had the governor yesterday, so we decided to bump Moon back to today, and he's in studio. So how are you, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I get bumped by the governor. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it happens from time to time. We covered a lot of ground with the governor yesterday.
I got to go back and listen to it. I apologize. I didn't listen to it, but yesterday was a busy day, and I meant to call you last night, kind of see how it went.
It went well. It went well. We started off talking about the SNAP benefits because if we rewind the clock, that's what the press conference he called was about before it got derailed. But I asked the governor a number of questions about how things went with LSU. One of the things I asked him, and we're going to have to pull up the soundbite before the show's over with this morning, is, hey, Governor, if you had to do it over again, would you just come out and say, we're going to put a new president in place first and worry about a head coach later? I mean...
Well, I said on the program, Brian, if he would have called me and asked me, that's what I told him to do. I'd have got out there. First of all, the SNAP deal, I wouldn't even answer questions. Hey, I ain't talking about that.
Right.
Talking about
It's SNAP.
You
right.
can't grab everything. I don't care if you're the governor, talk show host, whatever. You can't grab everything.
Right.
And Jeff would have walked back. Jeff was always going to have his hand heavy on the president of every university. It's what our governors do.
Right.
When Tate came in as president, that was an Edwards thing.
Yes.
Okay, but so no big deal there. When it came to AD and it came to head football coach, I'd have liked to see the governor. I'm not being critical. I'm being honest. Would have turned around, walked away from it. So I'm not touching any of that. Whether he did or not, you would have never known.
Well,
but the point being, that was never what we want the governor to do. So that kind of got out of hand. But you notice it's kind of settling down this week.
It is, and it's going to settle down a lot more after today. Meeting starts at 9:00, and I'm sure we're going to hear in very short order after that who the next president is, and that will be the first, oar back in the water to get the boat rowing again.
My question to you is, so when they go to meet, we all know they vote on the president. It's going to be, hey, how y'all doing? Glad to meet you. Congratulations for the finalists. Move you to president. Is it going to be a 30-minute deal, 20-minute deal? Let him say a few words.
That part I don't know.
I don't think it's a drawn-out deal, Brian. I don't think it is unless there's a flip in something.
And
Never know.
There's the rub, man. I was having an off-the-record conversation last night with somebody that left me feeling very uneasy about where they're headed. It's been Wade Rouse. It's going to be Wade Rouse. It's going to be Wade, and I'm 100% sure of that. But talking with somebody last night, and it was
wow.
I know a lot of people will like Wade Rouse, but the governor's going to get who the governor wants.
Well, let's be honest.
I don't know where that's headed.
It's all politics. If you recall, when the governor came in, they were trying to do some things, and Cameron Henry sent the president threw some wrenches in the plans.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know until the vote happens. I guess we're not going to know.
Well, and I also want to make sure, with a historical context, let's not pretend that Jeff Landry is the first person to get involved with LSU football.
He's not.
I mean, you remember John Bell Edwards threatened to cancel the whole damn season once.
Just to get some more taxes.
I know. I know. But
by the way, what would you be mad at? That Landry did what he did, or that John Bell would have actually canceled football season for you? Who you think would have got more trouble?
I think John Bell Edwards would get a lot more trouble. I would rather have a coach that I don't like than no football at all. But it's and specifically when it comes to the president as well, the president of LSU as well. I don't know why we pretend to tiptoe around the governor's involvement there. That to me, that's like to the victor goes the spoils. Every governor gets a say on that.
You go back from DeLong to Landry, from LL. I guarantee you they were involved in every president. We had a president change over at Northwestern. Okay, Northwestern's not our flagship. I'm not trying to make a comparison here.
Right.
But they did that. Governor was 100% involved in that. Nobody worried about a little town in Natchitoches. No big deal. LSU's a bigger deal. It's the flagship. We mentioned LSU, people's ears perk up. It's just a different type deal. But I go back to Edwards. Whether you like him or not, that's not the point. He picked President Tate. That was his pick. He got it.
Right.
And a lot of people didn't agree with that. He got it. Less controversial and moved on.
Right. So I don't know, like, do we all of a sudden have a problem because, like, it's just this is his first go through?
You know what I think this all rallies around? And Brian, I'm going to make this statement. You may get mad. I mean, get laughing. LSU people might too. LSU football, sometimes bigger than university. Not being ugly. I'm just being honest with. I'm talking about not with university people go to school, but with everybody that loves LSU. They seem to love the LSU football. It seems to be bigger than LSU school. It's not. I'm not saying it is. So what happens is you stick your nose anywhere around there, and they don't like it. Guess what? But I do think this: the governor got involved when getting rid of Brian Kelly. Whether you think it's right, I think none of the points. He got involved, and I think he got involved with money and boosters and people that buy it. And I think at that point he was kind of like you might have said hero, but he was a big part of it.
Right.
It was the other stuff, the other extracurricular activity that kind of got everybody tripping out.
Well, and so, but you get involved with the coach under the premise that you're here to save the taxpayers' money because that $54 million buyout could have been on the taxpayers' hands. Now, the flip side of that is taxpayers
never happened.
It's never happened. But Governor Landry was working under the premise that he cannot ignore the hypothetical. The way it was written in the contract, technically he's not wrong. In reality, in practice, that's never been the case. Yeah. But based off of the verbiage within the contract, he's not wrong. My biggest question for him yesterday was, then why not a full-throated support of letting Brian Kelly keep his job?
Let me go back to this. Let's just say, God forbid, our economy went into a deep recession.
Mm-hmm.
Not a depression, but a deep recession. All of a sudden, all these big money people say, "Hey, man, I ain't got the money.
Right,
I can't do it.
Right.
Who's on the hook then?
That would be us.
Okay, so see, you never know about that, and that's where Jeff was right. He was right on that. You just said it.
No,
he was right.
Yes,
you just said it. He was right.
Working under that presumption.
Yeah.
Working under that presumption, how does Brian Kelly get fired?
Yeah.
Unless the money's already there.
Yeah. Good Lord. No. It's great. No, I think the money's there, and I think that's where the governor came in. I think he put that together. I talked to some people at LSU like y'all have, and they said, yeah, it's no doubt. Right now, what the Governor Landry did, they're really excited. And people that didn't like the governor probably said, hey, man, we just needed to get this done. We got it done. Now we can move on.
Right.
But it's the moving on part that they feel like when he got with Woodward and all that stuff. And, I don't know Woodward. I just follow him from a distance. Whether you like him or not, all that stuff got to be too much, in my opinion.
Well, one of the things about Woodward, one of his superpowers, is working the boosters like that. So that's one of the questions I did ask Governor Landry yesterday was, man, did you set us up in a bad spot by firing the guy that had the money lined up?
Yeah.
I mean, and I misspoke by using the term fired because Woodward stepped down, but let's be real. He was on his way out,
When the governor said he will not hire the next coach,
right.
Woodward probably said, no sense me being here.
Exactly. I mean, it was
that's the way to do it without doing it.
Right.
But everybody knows he was forced.
I asked Governor Landry that yesterday. I said, are we in a worse spot because the guy who would have had the money lined up, which is what he's best at and always will be, it's what he was best at Washington, was best at Texas A&M. Yeah. What he's best at now is working the boosters and maximizing that input from them, both on all fronts. And the governors seem to be very confident that the money will be raised elsewhere. So
I think Jeff knows a lot. He's the governor. He'll probably know a lot more than you and me. Just saying he does.
Yeah.
And, so kind of got offhand, but I like the fact that it's kind of settled down a little bit. And they're going to name the president, which is going to settle that down.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they keep the AD that the interim right now. I'm not going to be surprised at all if he ends up being the guy that stays there. But if he's not, he's not. But it wouldn't surprise me.
He's an LSU lifer.
Yep.
I can think of very few reasons not to have him in the big chair as AD. And none of those reasons outweigh the reasons to have him there. There's a lot of people in town that would soften the blow of losing Scott Woodward if you had Verge Osbury in there.
Yeah.
It would make it a very palatable move, and Verge would do an unbelievable job.
Yeah, I think that might be part of the plan. But you know what? I'm just glad it's settled down. And the last thing I'm going to tell you is I can't wait for them to get a coach. And me and you went off there, and I told you a few things dealing with Saban and all this stuff. But the bottom line is this. They're going to hire a coach, and everybody can quit freaking out because when they tell us who the coach is, then we'll know.
Right.
Every speculation, you might find out the day before, but every speculation now, you're going to hear 952,000 names. And I would take that with a grain of salt. It don't matter.
It is insane, the varied number of names I've heard from Friday through the weekend. I've heard it's already Lane Kiffin. I've heard it's already Josh Heupel from Tennessee. like the names that were thrown on, all over the weekend. The only thing everybody knows, it's not Dan Lanning.
Well, I think you can put in Nick Saban in the same camp.
So I have a different take. Hey, JP, cue up that soundbite real quick and set it to where Moon can hear it on your side because that's that on. I think Nick Saban's got a different role right now. And I might be down a rabbit hole.
I'm just saying he ain't gonna be the coach.
No,
that's what
I agree. He's not gonna be the coach, but the number of people who said Nick Saban was in town last week was off the charts. There's no way that many people can like physically put eyes on him, and he didn't have a reason for being here. Verge Osbury held a press conference on Friday, and I know I'm going down a rabbit hole here. I have nothing but speculation. This is not factual in any way, shape, or form. This is just me pulling a wild hair. This was one of the things that Verge talked about when putting together a committee to find the next coach.
I have formed a committee. On that committee will be Scott Ballard, chairman of the board, John Carmouche, chairman of athletics, Ben Bordelon. As you know, Ben Bordelon is a former football player here, Bollinger Shipping, CEO, E.J. Kuiper. E.J. Kuiper, CEO of Lady of the Lake. He will be on the committee. And there'll be another, and myself, and there'll be another member of the committee that we are talking to right now at this time. Those are the people that can be responsible for helping us find the next great football coach at LSU.
I mean, I'm not like Fred and Shaggy and Scooby over here, but who's the mystery man?
I'm gonna be surprised if Saban's involved publicly at all.
Same.
The guy's got an office sitting. It's about 1,200 square foot, 1,000 square foot, sitting overlooking the University of Alabama football stadium, making $500,000 a year doing nothing.
I understand that.
I just think that he left the sport because of the way it's developed.
I agree with that.
And he's 74 years old. Being on a committee, if he's on that, I have no problem. He can't maybe the coach. I don't believe that until they name him the coach. And I think he's a negative 1,000% he could be the coach.
Same. I'm just throwing out ridiculously irresponsible speculation. And
no, you're not, because you can guess on that person, but I think your guess on that person is probably better than guessing who the next coach is going to be.
Well, and I would honestly rather have him in as a hired gun to say, who's your guy? Who would you have?
Yeah.
So
the other problem is he can name who he would have.
Mm-hmm.
And that person decides that I like where I'm at. Because he made a comment on game day that he said, like Kiffin, he said, Kiffin's got a great deal. If he goes to LSU, it's a whole different expectation. It's a whole different deal. You got to be careful leaving a place where you got everything you want to go get something you think you following.
Right.
He said, these coaches got to be careful.
Nothing in life is guaranteed.
No.
What's coming up on the show?
We got Blake Miguez going to stick his head in. Clay Young's coming by. I ain't seen Clay in a while. He's supposed to stick his head in the studio. A little bit about Mike Johnson. Got some pieces on this thing maybe shutting down. The shutdown will be open probably between now and Friday. They betting on it.
I'm betting on that as well. As soon as
the election's over Tuesday, they're going to win some Democratic places that they ought to win.
Right.
And then they're going to be excited and say, look, we're back.
Yep.
The best news of the day, Nancy Pelosi's leaving. I just wish she would have left.
How are we going to get her stock tips now, though?
Oh, no, she got the connection.
Oh, no, I know, but like, how are we going to get them? Because once she's no longer a public figure, she no longer has to report.
I'm glad she's leaving.
I want, you know what I want? I want like an 80s style gambling hotline. I want Nancy Pelosi's lock.
You want her on it now.
I want Nancy Pelosi's stone cold locks on the stock market.
She's been able to be very, very wealthy because of her position.
Yeah. 9 to 11. You got Moon right here. He's coming up right after this show. Here's news.
What y'all doing with the lights and all that? Just gives a better deal.
And yeah, so that we can repurpose video back to social media and I don't look all grainy. So
I knew that was the purpose. That's why.
Yeah.
Clay's supposed to me and Clay really communicate all the time. He finally called me and said, hey, man, I said, I'm coming. Can I come by? So we're going to go to shoot the battle a bit.
Now I got to get on him, man. He's going to be doing his show from up at Washington Mardi Gras this coming year.
Really?
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm like, man, you get a good idea and other people want to share in it. Do what?
Did you do that?
I do that every year.
You go for the whole week?
I go Wednesday to Saturday.
But you don't do nothing Saturday.
No.
I just do your Wednesday through Friday.
I sleep on Friday night on Saturday. I cut up with the lobbyists on Friday night. So
I've been to it once or twice, and my wife would love to go back. I try to beg her not to take me back up.
I don't go to the formals. I do the Thursday night.
I only go to one formal, but it's just the parties you go around and politics and this one would be. If I'm gonna go to one, this would be the best one because of the Senate race and everything that's coming up. It would be very political. This one.
Yeah.
Congressional races and all that.
I go to learn what's going to be talked about in the next legislative session. That is the Washington. I go from Washington Mardi Gras to Lobby's annual meeting, and then Pelican Institute, and I know the whole session before it happens. So
you do because you're talking to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. My wife tries to get me to go, and I've been able to get out of it every year. But if I go, it ain't the work.
Well, I
Last
mixed.
time I went,
I
she
mixed
wanted me
the
to go
two.
Wednesday through Sunday.
Yeah.
She conned me because I said I'd go Friday through Sunday, and I thought, well, she ain't gonna go that short time. Okay, so we flew in on a Friday. We was at the hotel at noon.
Yeah.
And we were flown. We were at the airport at 6 o'clock Monday morning. It was roll until you slept.
Yeah.
And then we rolled out of there at 6 o'clock on Sunday.
But that's the way I roll. And Moon, I'll do all the. I'll do all the.
You go to the parties and the moving around during the day and the evening, don't you? When they have
So I will knock out my morning show. I'll take like a 30-minute nap, and then I'll start working the lobby and whatnot. See who's around.
Yeah, the lobby you see everybody.
Yeah.
What about?
And then I'll do a show from 4 to 6 in the afternoon.
Oh, you do another one?
Yeah, I do 2 shows a day.
My God.
I know. And then I'll hit
a lot of radio time.
Yeah, it's a lot. But so we sell like 4 sponsorships this year. I want to sell 5. Every sponsor is promised 2 segments on air, just while they're up there. Like oftentimes sponsors are up there. What is your business here? What do you hope to get out of it? Why is Washington Mardi Gras actually good for Louisiana?
I think if you definitely, if I was doing that, it would definitely be a money deal.
And then Friday night, that's where I learn all the good shit. Because that's where, like, I'm completely clocked out. Everything is off the record, no matter what.
But ain't that where they have most of the parties?
Yeah.
You go from
Everybody's doing
suite
the
to suite to suite.
formal ball with the tuxedos
Yeah.
and everything. No, so that one is the suite to suite thing. It's Thursday night. It was Louisiana Live on Thursday night.
Because I went Thursday then because I went to all that.
Then the actual parade ball is on Saturday night.
That's the one with it.
Okay, then that one. I haven't been to that one yet. I usually fly
That was
home.
a good time. I
Saturday.
was with a pretty big group. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Mary Landry kissed me on the cheek.
Okay.
She came behind me and kissed me, and then we took pictures, and we just had some funny. I know what that was for. She did too. It wasn't about fighting over politics. It was about laughing and cutting up. So we made everybody laugh, going back and forth. It was really comical. And that's the first time I met her. And she kissed me on the cheek the first time.
She's actually a very nice person.
We had fun. I knew her husband Frank. He was from
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she went to Ursula where my wife went. Obviously, she went like 30 years before Christy, but she was maybe not 30.
She gave me a kiss on the cheek. That was the best thing that could have kicked it off right there.
Yeah.
Hey, Moon! I thought, oh my God! And look, the whole group was falling out. It was fun. It was fun.
You can kill Moon's mic. By the way. Oh. But see, that's the weird times when I'm actually right. There he is. .836 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Don't forget Talk 107.3 is your new home for Ken Trahan's original prep football report. Get live in-game updates, full statewide scoreboard, and check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m. It's Ken Trahan's original prep football report, presented locally by Dr. Pepper and the Harold Perkins Jr. Tuition Program on Talk 107.3 FM. All right, time for a little DC Current. Here we go. Joining us now, as he has been for actually quite some time. I think we're in year 3 of doing the segment with Congressman Troy Carter. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you? Enjoying this brisk sunny morning?
It is dude, the weather's been fantastic. I could not ask for it to be any more picture perfect Chamber of Commerce weather out there. We're going to get into the shutdown in a little bit, but I want to start off with your FEMA bill because we touched on it last week, and I had a procedural question that completely derailed the topic. So I get into Robert's rule. I'm a nerd, and I get into Robert's Rules of Order sometimes, and like it's probably not good for the show, except for like the 3 other nerds who are like me that were completely dialed in. But
well, I will tell you, procedure is very important.
Yes,
so
thank you.
I love it. I love it too.
Thank you. I appreciate that backup, that support right there. All right, you've got a bill out there to keep FEMA running. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, it's the Federal Emergency Management Continuity Act, co-sponsored by my colleague in Florida, Jared Moskowitz. What this bill does is very simple. It requires the Federal Emergency Management Agency continues obligating and dispersing disaster relief during this and any other future storm or shutdown. Mm-hmm. So, meaning, if there's a shutdown in the future, you never have to worry about being able to access federal aid during a storm, a natural disaster, or any calamity that would require the Federal Emergency Management Agency to step in. God forbid, in Louisiana or anywhere, quite frankly, because we know that we see natural disasters happen far more frequently than they've had in the past. So if in the event of a natural disaster of any sort that would trigger FEMA responses, doesn't matter if there's a government shutdown or not, the American people should not have to worry will resources be available. I'm hopeful that this bill will have bipartisan support, that this bill will move its way through the process and find its way on the president's desk. This is another one of those examples of, why didn't we think of this anyway? Because we know that we don't have the luxury of just sitting back and saying, sorry, a hurricane just came through your town and blew half of it away, but we don't have any resources because we're in a shutdown. So this prevents any such delay and disruption of services in the event of a storm.
I've got to ask you, and yeah, this is a slap on the forehead. How did we not get this before? But how did we not already have this?
There you go.
It's
great minds think alike.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where there are certain things that, I mean, if you know, there are certain things that should be untouchable because they supersede everything. Hurricanes don't hit Republicans. Hurricanes don't hit Democrats.
Man, I couldn't have said it better. And you know what? If we can bottle that and use that, because we can take that exact same antidote and apply it in so many things. If we can just get beyond the us against them scenario that plagues us, and I'm not blaming any one party more than the other. I'm just saying, that the American people deserve better than what we've given them in the way of our partisan rants.
Okay. I know you don't like to go down the political path. I know you don't like to stay on.
You're always
hang on. You're going to be surprised where I'm going with this one, okay? Because it's both sides again. Hey, I know you don't like to go on the political path. I know you are in office to serve. I completely understand that. But I need you to engage in the political for just a minute because it is an election day in a number of places right now. What is your level of belief? What is your level of thought on after we see election day over with? A lot of these things are going to get talked about and worked out because those who are on the political end are working for their talking points, not working for resolution.
When the elections are over, we all have a responsibility to come together. Listen, man, people are going to say and do whatever it takes during the election cycle to win people's support, admiration, and ultimate vote. But when it's all over, it's time to now come back and figure out how to now get these things done that some people have. Listen, nothing boils my blood more than to sit at television and watch national elections or elections even local and hear people say things that they know they can't do.
Yeah.
And just know it.
You're right.
And just know it instinctively. Listening and saying, yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah, she's a nice lady. But what they just said is absolutely not possible.
Right.
But people get hoodwinked into hearing what they want to hear sometimes. And, I guess that's the nature of the beast. I think we all should take a dose in trying to. I know my own comfort level, but I've been doing this a long time. My comfort level is, listen, I'm not going to overpromise. I'm going to try to overdeliver. And just tell you the God's honest truth, what our obstacles are and what it takes to get there. And every week when I come on the show with you, this is the kind of discussion we have is, listen, if we had a magic wand, we'd be using it all the time. If we had magic dust to make problems go away, there would be no problems. It isn't that easy. There's a lot of moving parts to government. There's a lot of moving parts to policy. There's a lot of moving parts to politics. And, you have to work with people. And that's why you often hear me say, as we just mentioned, I ask you to bottle your antidote, because the reality is it takes the yin and yang of both parties to get things moving. And that's why I have said every week as we talk about this government shutdown, listen, there's enough blame to go around. People want to say who's blame. Let's say this. Bottom line is the blame is that we aren't talking.
Right.
And the way to fix it is we have to be talking. It's like in your household, if you and your significant other aren't talking, it's not likely you're going to solve the problem. And you and your business partner, it's not likely that you're going to solve the problem if you aren't talking. With you and your parents, or you and your friends, or you and your coaches, if you aren't talking, you aren't going to solve the problem. And we aren't talking. And we must. No matter who's right in the argument, no matter who prevails in the discussion, Congress is a deliberative body. It requires us to deliberate, but we cannot do that if we are not together, if we're not in the same city, the same state, the same town, the same place, the same house, the United States House of Representatives.
Congressman Troy Carter is our guest for DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. So with that in mind, the sun comes up tomorrow and the electoral battle is over with. My level of hope is going to increase.
You mean
that the talking resumes? That people put their swords down.
Listen, I wake up every day. I go to bed every night with that belief. I wake up every morning with that belief, and I'll continue to, because it's what allows me to have my motivation. Otherwise, you say the system's broke, it never can be fixed. Right. My motivation is to believe that tomorrow we're going to do better than we did today. And if I ever lose that hope, if the American people ever lose that hope, then we're lost. So we have to maintain the hope that, listen, we didn't get it right yesterday, but let's go at it again today, and hopefully we will. So I share your optimism, however cautious it may be.
Mm-hmm.
I share your optimism that this too shall pass. I'm of the theory that think of your latest, greatest, most insurmountable challenge that you faced in your life, and it's behind you now, which means you overcame it. We'll overcome this one too. The question becomes, how much pain does it cause the American people before we get there?
We get Congressman Troy Carter with us. I'm actually, can I go back to procedure now because of the route this conversation has taken? When you talk about the pain, how much can be retroactively fixed once the government's open again?
Some things will never be fixed. I mean, we can go back. I'll remind you what we talked about in previous shows. I think I shared the statistic with you that our last and longest government shutdown was 35 days under the President Trump's first administration.
Mm-hmm.
It cost the American taxpayers $11 billion. That's gone. And what we've lost now will be gone. The application of those $11 billion to fix a myriad of problems are gone. You never get that back. The goodwill of the American people, the trust of the American people, the pain of families who had to endure the difficulty of not getting a paycheck or not having their SNAP benefits available to feed their children, or the dysfunction of not being able to access federal agencies during these days of a government shutdown. That's gone, and it's kind of like having bad credit. You once put your credit card down and people gave you items and you walked away because they trusted you. Well, now we had a breach, and so now they're going to look at our credit card a little differently, and the American people will look at us a little differently. Goodwill is very difficult to recapture once lost.
We can't really go shop for another government, though, can we?
We can't shop for another government. We can't apply for a higher interest rate government because this one doesn't work anymore. And unfortunately, we can't borrow from another government to pay our bills. So this government that we have, that's going to be 250 years old pretty soon, is, even with all of its challenges and all of its levels of dysfunction, is still the best in the entire world. Now we've got to work on making it better. We have to strive for the more perfect union, as the Constitution and framers suggested.
Last one before I get you out of here. You've been doing a lot of work on the side while the government has been shut down, serving up red beans to TSA workers, doing a little second harvest work as well. What's the latest on that front? Are you still able to maintain that this far into it?
Yeah, we had a little blip for a second. We had gotten mixed signals from TSA saying that we weren't allowed, that they weren't going to let us do it anymore. Then we were quickly told, yes, we could. So yeah, we do it every single day. Every day we do either red beans and rice, spaghetti and meatballs, po' boy sandwiches, chips and soda. We even had little extra thrown in the other day. We had some good old honey buns as a little dessert after lunch. And listen, nothing replaces a paycheck, and we certainly understand that. But the TSA workers, the air traffic controllers, the people at the airport really, really appreciate the fact that we're thinking about them during this time. Listen, going 6 weeks without a paycheck is no walk in the park. And then having to show up to work every day is no walk in the park, knowing that at the end of the week, you're not bringing a check home to take care of your obligations. And then watching the lines grow, watching the flights back up, knowing that many of our TSA workers are not being able to take their regularly scheduled breaks or as long as they normally would because of the shortages, and also people having to cancel vacations. All, by the way, not being paid. So this small gesture of goodwill has gone a long way. Of course, the greatest gesture of goodwill is to get the government open and get them paid. And that's what we're pushing and working for every single day.
He's Congressman Troy Carter. Hopefully we will be back in order next time we speak. We always appreciate the time, sir. Thank you so much.
God bless you, my friend. Have a great week.
You do the same. We ran super duper long there. Just blew right past your money now. So let's take our local break. Let's check traffic one more time. And oh my goodness, local story in the New York Post yesterday. Yes, we've reported on it locally as well, but unbelievable stuff that started, I believe, in Baker. We'll talk about it next. I really wish you would have engaged more on that. Both Republicans and Democrats are sitting on the election. Sun comes up tomorrow and they're going to want to talk. The war is over. You can put down your sword. Get this thing back up and running again. Huh. Oh, man. Okay, here's one. So Congressman Carter went to O. Perry Walker High School, and I'm on O. Perry Walker's Wikipedia page. All of their notable alumni are football players and Ray Nagin. Oh, I shit about this.
That's funny. Oh man, doing a deep dive,
bro. Yeah, so Congressman Carter's Wikipedia page says he went to O. Perry Walker. And O. Perry Walker High School notable alumni. Oh no, you had an actress in the class of 77, Patricia Clarkson. Then it's NFL defensive end, CFL defensive back, NFL wide receiver, NFL defensive end, NFL running back, NFL cornerback, NFL free safety, overseas professional basketball player, Ray Nagin, former mayor of New Orleans.
Okay.
And then NFL offensive tackle, NFL cornerback, and NFL wide receiver. Well, the congressman, Sarah, needs to get on Wikipedia and correct this. That's a total shots fired.
Oh,
the only reason it was on my mind the whole interview because I did the promo for Ken Trahan's Prep Football Report.
Yeah.
So as the interview was ending, I'm like, wonder where the congressman went to high school. So, it's too good. $180pros.com. 180pros.com is the studio sponsor here at Talk 107.3 FM. We are in the 180 Pros studio, but more than that, they are your managed IT services partner. They are your cybersecurity partner, not your IT provider, your partner. They're in it with you. Your success is their success. And they demonstrate that in so many different ways, not the least of which is the simplified billing. I mean, have you ever broken down line for line a bill from an IT company and just see yourself get nickeled and dimed for everything out there? Not with 180 Pros. Simplified, one-page invoice, simplified billing. And oh, by the way, they're here locally with same-day response time. 330-2200. Of course, that is 225-330-2200. Learn more about or contact the folks over at 180 Pros, 180pros.com. All right. We're almost done for the day, y'all, but I did want to touch on one more story that we covered, I believe, in Top Stories and Trending a couple days ago or day before yesterday. Actually, no, before that. I missed a death in this day in history, JP. Missed one.
Who was it?
Owen Edward Brennan. Owen Edward Brennan. Born in New Orleans on April 5th, 1910, Owen Edward Brennan is most widely known as the founder of Brennan's Restaurant. So, yeah, he passed on this day in 1955. So, yeah, I missed out on that one. All right. I believe it was yesterday in Top Stories and Trending. I could be wrong about this, but the headline was a missing 13-year-old girl was found hidden in a box in a house in New York. And this story obviously made the news here because the girl is from Baker. But now it's in the news from the New York Post. The missing 13-year-old Louisiana girl was found hidden in a box more than 1,000 miles away from home, having been repeatedly abused by a sex trafficker who tricked her into thinking she was being adopted. The teen had been reporting missing from East Baton Rouge Parish, I believe it was, like I said, Baker, back on October 20th, before she was found last Thursday inside a box covered by a sheet in the basement of a house. I'm sorry, not in New York, in Pittsburgh. There, she was allegedly sexually abused repeatedly by Keyshawn Crouere, 26 years old, after he plied her with booze and fed her a bunch of marijuana edibles. Absolutely horrific nightmare scenario of a story, with the exception that she was found and returned home. She was originally befriended, sorry, long show, by Crouere on Snapchat and persuaded to travel more than 1,000 miles by bus on the cruel lie that she would be adopted by trusted adults. Instead, she was groomed, exploited, and then sexually abused by strangers who found her online. This, according to the Attorney General's office. I mean, absolute nightmare, horrific, hell on earth scenario for this poor girl. But I find it interesting that the story, which started in East Baton Rouge, ended up in Pittsburgh, and then brought back home to Louisiana again, is making its way nationally right now. It's bad when those stories are making the national headlines, because especially when it comes to like the New York Post, it's like, what's the juiciest? What is going to cause the most people to, the most clicks? Never want to see that. All right, Moon Griffon's coming up next. Don't forget it is election day throughout a lot of the country, and we'll pick things back up tomorrow. Franz Borchardt will be in for Legally Served. We'll have a whole slate for you. We'll see you then. Oh, guys, I don't know how I made it through the show, but I am dead, and I will see y'all tomorrow.